We're joined now by Bill Hubard, the chief economist at MIG Investments. Bill, these numbers are a bit of a shock. I mean, you know, this is when the tax receipts should be coming in, when things should be looking healthy, and yet very big disappointment there for Alistair Darling.
Well, all I can think of is, except for that small incident, Mrs. Lincoln, did you enjoy the play? You know, I mean, David and I were talking about this morning. These numbers, we are in just as bad a shape as Greece, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we can be bailed out by the IMF because we don't belong to the Maastricht Treaty, et cetera, et cetera. This is a very serious problem, and two things here. Even if we'd gotten a slight budget surplus, this would have been the seasonal factors, and the two things that have kept the UK economy alive probably since 1066 has been the nice revenues from the housing market and the nice revenues coming in from our only other industry, which is financial services. We've seen what that's been. The simple fact is, you mentioned about inflation. Inflation, everybody looked at it and says, this is a seasonal adjustment factor. This time last year, remember, oil was at $30 a barrel, and as Mervyn King will say, "Dear darling, it's not my fault. Don't blame me that you reinstituted that."
No. You mentioned the IMF coming in there. There is a sort of a school of thought now that feels that would be the most sensible thing to do. Do you think that we're really talking about an IMF bailout for the UK?
Not really, but I guess the problem that I've got is we all know within every 5 minutes there's another rumor, et cetera, et cetera. They've done it before. It's a simple fact, and David was showing the bond spreads. It's very difficult because the 2-year gilt spread is far more important than the 10-year Bund spread or the other spreads against the treasuries, because that's what they use to adjust the mortgage market here in the UK. But the problem is we have a very serious problem. I think we're making a better, not a great, but a better realistic approach to it. And looking at the unemployment numbers, what concerns me the most is not the headline number, but look at the percentage of the 18 to 28-year-olds who are the next 10, 20 years. Are they going to be perpetually unemployed? And I mean, that level is it's almost like 40%. That's what scares me. People our age can probably find another job in another industry. But these are people that are chronically unemployed. Their father's been unemployed for X amount of years. Their grandfather, maybe they're in parts of the country. We don't do coal mining anymore. We don't build any ships. This upsets me the most. And I think one of the things, and I guess I'm going to be apolitical here, the current government can say anything they want to, but by midnight on the 6th of June or something, we may have a new government. And then, you know, Alistair Darling can say, well, it's your problem, not my problem.
There is a question of who would actually want to be Chancellor of the Exchequer after the 6th of June. But anyway, there does seem to be two separate schools of thought here. One is the kind of the swingers, if you like, those who think that, you know, all we've got to do, we must cut the budget deficit almost by any means.
Sure.
Maybe not those gigantic cuts that Osborne and Cameron didn't get a very good reception to. The other side, people are saying, look, it's just too early. Look at unemployment. We've got to keep pumping money into the economy. Where do you stand on this?
Well, if you look at 2008, the UK, the Eurozone, and the US, why did they see any growth? It wasn't you and me spending. It was Helicopter Ben, Merv, and Mr. Trichet. Hence, yesterday, everybody's saying, well, the Fed's going to try to get out of it. The central banks will continue to spend the way out. Who cares where the money comes from? It's all our money anyway. So it's a question of they've got to spend. They've got to get the consumer, whether it be here in the UK, whether it be in Greece, in the US, to feel confident enough. But the fact is, inflation is not a problem. I have not felt that inflation has been a problem anywhere. Job security, the things that people go out, you know, they're spending. I mean, McDonald's having a great year. Domino Pizza's having a great year. Well, maybe not the champagne people or the foie gras people, but people now have to start spending on items where there's a profit in it, and they're not doing that yet. And the fact is, we in the UK, I hope we don't try to continue to master that things are okay. They're not okay. We are in a serious problem. And I know it's so many people in the city, okay, come the April 10th or whatever. I mean, you know, I work for a Swiss bank. We're getting quite a few inquiries from UK institutions saying, hey, you know, if we move to Geneva, we move to Zurich, can we do business? And I can tell you right now, house prices in and around our little village of Neuchâtel, Nyon is the next one. House prices are going ballistic here because they feel we could get a few more Brits.
OK, well, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Phil, thank you very much indeed.